Welcome to Carve. In this tutorial, I will be showing you how to use our project modeling screen to optimize resourcing earlier in the sales and project lifecycle in order to eliminate feast or famine cycles before you've locked issues into your project plan and even your client contract. Let's get started. Let's start with an overview of the screen itself. On the top left is the client and project name. On the top right is the sales confidence label. How likely is it to close? In the middle is where you're designing your project plan. And on the right is where you can adjust how the work will be completed. And on the top is a global viewport where you can see how the project impacts everything else. And on the bottom is where you can allocate budget and hours to roles and assignments. Now, the first thing to do in creating a project is to allocate the budget across the roles and assignments you think will be needed to get the work done. You can give the assignment a name, such as discovery, and then you can choose the skill or role that's needed to get it done.
Now at this point, you don't need to assign a specific resource. You can leave it at the higher level of roles.
Final thing that we want to do when creating assignments is allocate the number of hours you think it's going to take to get that work done. And you can repeat this for each assignment until your full budget is allocated. Now, I want to note that it's very important to create the assignments at the milestone level. You want to avoid creating tasks because at this stage in project modeling, it's very unlikely your tasks will be accurate enough to justify the time and effort to create them. Tasking can come later when you are scheduling the project with your project managers. Now, the next thing we want to do is design your project plan. And we do that by clicking and dragging the individual assignments. The first thing we can do is look for a gap in our overall schedule in order to start the project. We can click and drag the project into that spot before we start designing the project plan itself. Now, to design the project plan, it's all click and drag. We can adjust the time in which an assignment will get done with the handles, and Carve is going to auto compute what that means for how much work will be done week on week. The next thing we can do is adjust the rate at which work can be completed, modeling ramp-up periods, even distributions, or freestyle, which allows more minute customizations. Individual assignments can then be repositioned by clicking and dragging in order to represent how they will be completed in relation to the other work on the project. And remember, the uniqueness of Carve's interface allows you to model projects very quickly, so you can do this earlier in the project cycle to get an idea of what your project pipeline means from a resourcing standpoint. Now, once we finished our high-level project design, it's time to allocate individual resources and finalize the project plan. To do this, you click on the assignment and select from the list of drop-down, and Carve is automatically computing what an individual resource's utilization is during the assignment's period. That means you can pick who is most free to assign to the project without additional work. Now, the next thing that Carve does is once you've assigned a resource, the global viewport becomes that resource's overarching schedule, so you can see what else they're working on and how it relates to their capacity. But let's assign somebody who is overutilized and figure out how we can use this viewport to fix the scheduling issue. So Aaron is overbooked, and we can see that because he is over his horizontal yellow line. Now, there's many things we can do, but in this case, we'll shift the project forward by a week, and then we'll adjust the assignment itself, saying Aaron needs to complete this in 2 weeks, and he needs to start a week earlier. And remember, we can do these kinds of things because this project plan is being done before things are set in stone, when project problems like this have been locked in. Congratulations, you've now modeled your first project. When you're ready, you will send this project model to your project managers, who will use it to create detailed project plans and tasks within the boundaries that you set to preserve profitability and ensure your team is not under or overworked. My name is Chris Lee, and if you have additional questions, please feel free to ping us with the message icon on the bottom right of the screen, or you can drop us an email at info@carve.io.